Senate steps down electoral bill, plans executive session Thursday as CSOs protest. Bella Turji Group captures rival bandit leader. A section of the FCTA workers return to work as NLC pushes on with the strike. On the foreign scene, Uganda court releases prominent rights activist on bail. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. The Senate has deferred consideration of the Electoral Act 2022 Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2026, opting to reconvene in an executive session to scrutinize the proposed legislation before taking a final decision. The decision came after deliberations on the report of the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters. Held in the absence of Committee Chairman Senator Simon Lalong, lawmakers agreed to step down debate to allow time for detailed study, with consideration now expected to resume on Thursday. An executive session will also provide a forum for closed-door discussions on sensitive aspects of the reforms. While the House of Representatives has already passed the bill, Senate President Godwin Akpabio stressed the need for thorough scrutiny, given its implications for Nigeria's electoral process. The committee says enacting the bill will promote electoral integrity, enhance transparency, expand voter participation, and strengthen INEC's capacity, leaving Nigerians with a lasting legacy of credible elections. Meanwhile, at the Federal Capital Territory, protesters drawn from civil society organizations on Wednesday marched to the National Assembly, urging the Senate to immediately pass the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025. The demonstrators, carrying placards with messages such as "No more delay," "Pass the bill now," and "Electoral reform now," warned that further delay could undermine preparations for the 2027 general elections. They described the bill as critical to ensuring free, fair, and credible polls, calling on lawmakers not to alter its contents but pass it without delay. Executive Director of the Kimpact Development Initiative, Bukola Ido, said the protest is aimed at mounting pressure on the Senate, stressing that delays could negatively affect the Independent National Electoral Commission's planning for the 2027 elections. The Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria has renewed calls for the immediate removal of the INEC chairman, Professor Josiah Amupitan, warning that his continued tenure threatens the credibility of Nigeria's general elections. Speaking during the Council's 2026 annual pre-Ramadan lecture and General Assembly in Abuja, President Sheikh Bashir Umar said Muslims across Nigeria will not recognize any poll conducted under Amupitan's leadership. The call follows concerns over the chairman's past actions, including a legal brief alleging a Christian genocide, claims repeatedly dismissed by the federal government. Umar described the position as divisive, raising serious doubts about Amupitan's neutrality. While the council does not litigate, other groups have approached the court to challenge his continued stay in office. The council insists swift action is needed to safeguard Nigeria's electoral integrity. To security matters now, a major security crisis hit Jibia local government area in Katsina state after a former bandit leader, Abdulankai, was captured and 7 of his followers were killed in a violent attack linked to a collapsed peace meeting. Abdullahi Ahmadi, of our correspondent over there, has the latest from Jibia.
Abdulankai, once a key figure in Jibia's community peace process, was seized after a clash with fighters loyal to rival commanders Dogo Rabi and Black both linked to the notorious bandit boss Bello Turji. According to sources, the trouble started over accusations that one of Lankai's close aides took payment from rival factions but failed to deliver arms. Tensions spilled over at a reconciliation meeting on Tuesday, January 27, 2026, when Dogo Rabe's group opened fire. Several members of Lankai's team were killed, and Lankai was captured alive.
What happened yesterday was really so bad for us as a stockholder of security issue in Jibia local government. When we had it, we try to investigate what really happened and what will be happen after his abduction. So after our finding, we found out that all this problem from some part of faction, we're convinced that this the thing happened between them is an issue, and it will not affect our peace effort. It's just a misunderstanding between this faction and the other faction from the state, and they are trying to resolve it amicably. This is what we are expecting from them to hear now.
Several repentant fighters with Lankai were wounded, with at least 2 in critical condition. Residents say Lankai had been credited with enforcing the peace deal in Jibia, keeping raids and attacks down and winning local backing. The violence has raised fears of renewed bandit attacks, as Lankai's remaining followers are reportedly mobilizing. Security authorities have not yet commented publicly. The Jibia Peace Accord, previously seen as a potential model for negotiated security in Katsina State, is now under threat. Analysts say holding the fragile camp will be tough without its central broker.
Kalau hukumar Jibia labari ya zo mata wani iri sabo.
The people of Jibia local government received the very unfortunate and shocking news regarding the abduction of Abdulangai, who had been spearheading peace negotiations with bandits. He was invited under the pretense of assisting in planning a peace process in their areas. But this was a deceitful trap. We are now praying for the sustenance of the peace deal, and most importantly, for the safe return of Abdulangai.
2005. By the time when we have a peace talk with him, he accepted this peace talk, and with all sincerity, with faith and sincerity, up to this time, there was nothing happened between the people of Jibia local government and his people. And he's at alert any time we call him on any issue. He will attend that issue and he will address the issue, and the problem will be solved. Definitely the entire people of Jibia local government and its environment, we are not happy with this attack. We are very, very much not happy on this attack.
Lankai became prominent among bandit crews in parts of Zamfara and across the border in Niger after he agreed to the peace deal. Dogo Rabi, who rejected the pact, moved to Zamfara and linked up with Bello Turji, which fueled tensions here. Recent attempts by senior bandit figures to renew a ceasefire were underway, but this week's event show how fragile negotiated peace remains. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Still on security situation, 3 police officers are reportedly being killed and 2 others injured in an ambush by suspected armed bandits in Katsina State. The incident occurred on Tuesday, January the 27th, at about 1 in the afternoon. A police team conducted a routine anti-crime patrol in Guga village, Bakori local government area. Those killed are ASP Abubakar Ibrahim, Inspector Umar Ahmad, and Sergeant Kailani Kabir, while Corporals Abdul Aziz Sani and Daniel Japet sustained injuries. According to security sources, the officers were responding to an attack by hoodlums when they came under sporadic gunfire. The Katsina State Police Command confirmed the attack, noting that the injured officers were rushed to the hospital and are receiving treatment. Investigations are ongoing to apprehend the perpetrators, with further updates expected in the coming days. To the legislature now, the Nigerian Senate has scheduled a closed-door session to discuss an alleged breach of Nigeria's territorial integrity linked to a December United States military strike on Nigerian soil, raising concerns about constitutional oversight and national security. The report.
The issue was raised on the Senate floor on Wednesday through a point of order by Senator Abdul Ningi of Bauchi Central, who spoke on the matters of privilege. Senator Ningi criticized the reported U.S. strike in Sokoto State on Christmas Day, describing it as audacious and highlighting that Nigerian legislators were not briefed on the operation despite it taking place within the country.
Times in December, the United States of America, via its military, took a hit into Nigerian territory, which is a complete violation of this document, which you also to protect, which is a complete breach of the United Nations Charter. Executive Act, but the legislature must talk. In spite of the good intention of the American military, in spite of whatever achievement that they hit made, Mr. President, if we continue to say that the National Assembly that is vested with these powers under Part 4 and will remain mum.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio acknowledged the seriousness of concern, but emphasized that national security matters are not suitable for open debate in the chamber.
I've read the Section 9, I understand it, and I was about to let you know that your privilege has not yet been breached. If you can allow me, I can explain. Yesterday, because it's a matter of security, we really should not discuss it in the open. We should have a closed session so that you will be well briefed.
The closed-door session will allow senators to review the matter in detail while ensuring sensitive security information remains protected.
Some workers at the Federal Capital Territory Administration and the Federal Capital Development Authority have resumed duty following a court order directing the suspension of their strike. However, organized labor says the industrial action is far from over. Habibat Ajayi has the situation report.
Offices at the FCTA Secretariat reopened early Monday as some staff returned to work, signaling a gradual restart of government activities in the nation's capital. The strike began last week under the Joint Union Action Committee led by President Riskatu. Key issues including the non-remittance of pension and National Housing Fund reductions as well as unpaid overheads. Trust TV visits to the secretariat before 8 a.m. showed workers arriving at their offices, hospitals and public schools within the FCT also reopened, offering relief to residents affected by the shutdown of essential services. The senior special assistant to the FCT Minister Yesam Wike says not all workers supported the strike, which explains the return of some staff.
And the truth of the matter is that some of these things, even the workers, most of the workers were not in support of the strike action. They were not in support. That was the reason the union leaders had to barricade the gate, force people to comply. You see, when people are genuinely aggrieved, you don't need to force them to comply. In this case, people were forced to comply, and that's why you see that the moment court said you should, people. By the time you go back to those offices now, you see that the offices are ready. People are already doing their, already there, working.
The door has been opened even before the court judgment. Okay. On Monday, the door was flung open by management and mounted security men all over the place. That was on Monday. Even on Tuesday, it was also, it's been open for this week from Monday. The management has opened it. But there's a statement from management. There's a statement from NLC. So I am going to seek audience with NLC, seek audience with management, and come up with a statement. Hopefully later today.
The strike, led by JWAC, had earlier paralyzed government operations over unresolved welfare and salary-related demands. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress has directed all its Abuja-based affiliate unions to sustain and intensify the strike, describing the situation as unacceptable. In a circular of union leaders, the NLC said workers' welfare concerns and alleged continued intimidation of staff by authorities. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
As we earlier reported, protesters from civil society organizations on Wednesday marched to the National Assembly urging the Senate to immediately pass the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025. The demonstrators carrying placards with messages such as "No more delay," "Pass the bill now," and "Electoral reform now" warned that further delay could undermine preparations for the 2027 general elections. They described the bill as critical to ensuring free and fair and credible polls, calling on lawmakers not to alter its contents, but to pass it without delay. We now have the executive director of the joining us via Zoom to discuss this development. Is the executive director of the Kim Park Development Initiative, Bukola Idu, who has been observing the situation and is here with us. Thank you for joining us on News Hour, Bukola. Why do you think, why are you spearheading this protest? Do you think a delay could mar the 2027 elections, as you are alleging?
Obviously, delay is going to mar this election, basically, because if you look at the timeline of our election has been statutory a bit, or by tradition, scheduled to be February, general election, February every 4 years. And if you recall, INEC has already even scheduled that election till around 2052 or 2057 or thereabout. And it shows that election is going to be taking place every third week or third weekend of February. So what it means is that election technically is going to happen in 2027 February. And by law, INEC is going to, so they are supposed to release a timetable for election 1 year ahead. They are supposed to give notice of election 1 year ahead. So as it is, as of today, we don't even know the laws at which we are going to conduct 2027 election. Because 3 years ago, or let me say 2 years ago, the National Assembly started the process of amending the Electoral Act. Immediately, they resume in 2023. And that process, they have done public hearing, they have consulted constituency across 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Now, if you recall, but in December, the House of Representatives have passed their own the version of the bill, and we are waiting for the Senate. So if they don't do it this month, then it's going to be too late and too close to the election, because INEC is supposed to give the notice of election, which means by next month it's going to be 1 year to 2027 election. They're supposed to also release timetable, and if you pass it, then it's going to alter the preparation of INEC, because what will INEC will have to now begin to adjust their timetable according to the new law that will be passed. And don't forget, it is not that even if they pass the law today, let me even say tomorrow, it's not automatic that the president will assent. The president may have 1 or 2 concerns and return the bill to the National Assembly for to further amend a particular place. So when you look at the plus or minus, the time is going to take the National Assembly to even transmit it to the president, and for the president to assent, then it might be too late if they don't act now. And that is why we suspect probably the way they were going, then this is not going to see the light of the day.
Why do you think the Senate is delaying on, if you like, concurring to the House of Representatives provisions or amendments?
Well, they may have a lot of reasons, but one reason that is that is common and that is paramount and that everybody can see is that they are not giving this the importance it requires. Think about it. The same Senate with speed amended the law that extended the tenure of the Inspector General of Police. That law was amended within 48 hours and passed. Now, the same Senate with speed, the National Assembly with speed, also passed the law that gave us the new national anthem, or the national anthem we are using now. So, if they have attached the same Senate with speed, confirmed the list of the ambassadors, with speed also confirmed the INEC chairman. So, if this is as important as the remaining the bills I have mentioned that they have done with speed, the national anthem, the Inspector General of Police Service Act, the confirmation of the ambassador, the confirmation of the INEC chairman, if it's also important to them, they can get it done. So, but the main reason is that with what we can see, they don't think it is of importance. And the truth of the matter is this. Let me say this. Look, somebody is benefiting from the 40 laws that we are having. Don't forget the present Senate, and I keep saying it, there are people in the National Assembly today that they did not sit for primary and they are in the National Assembly. They did not contest in the primary and they are in the National Assembly. The law will stop a lot, this amendment will stop a lot of this thing from repeating itself. And maybe somebody is benefiting from the 40 law. They need to amend it now and send it to the president for assent. And look, don't forget, we have been on this road before. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, may God rest his soul, did not assent to the Electoral Act because he said he's too close to the election. What are we toiling with again? We are not learning from history. Maybe President Bola Ahmed with Tinubu, we also say he's too close to the election. So they need to act now before all the labor of the citizens that attended the public hearing, the labor of the committee that have worked on this thing, the civil society, before the labor go down the drain. They need to act now.
Yeah, what was the response of the leadership of the Senate when you went to the National Assembly, when you led the protest? What was their response today?
Today, they've assured us that they are going to make it as a priority. So the Senate majority leader, Senator Peyemi Bamidele, have also given assurance on that. The spokesperson for the House of Rep have also spoken on behalf of the House and said, look, they are going to make it a matter of importance. So from our own end as civil society, we are only waiting. We are only waiting and give them till Friday for them to expedite action on this. If they don't, we are mobilizing Nigerians in thousands and we are going to be back at the National Assembly on Tuesday, February 2nd.
Yeah, Bukola, but as a parting, if you like, question, you know, as a civil society person, the Senate can, in its wisdom, decide to all adopt what the House of Reps has already done, without going through all the other procedures. So you can see that it can still be done with speed, like you're saying, isn't it?
Yes, it can be done tomorrow. It can be done next tomorrow. So in fact, as a matter of fact, the National Assembly, the two committees dissolve into one. So that to streamline the timeline, to make it so both of them work on it, and they went to Lagos on a retreat and harmonized a single copy. So the copy that the House of Rep voted on and pass is the same copy with the National Assembly. So it can be done. It can be done within a day. That's why it can be done tomorrow. And that is why we are suspecting maybe somebody is afraid of free and fair and credible election. Maybe it is not their top priority. And that is why we are waking Nigeria up. Because if they don't pass this, our election is going to take the same form of 2023.
A civil society organization. Thank you for coming on News Hour.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Residents displaced by demolition across parts of Lagos State have taken to the streets, accusing the state government of enforcing what they described as state-sanctioned homelessness. The protesters, drawn from communities including Makoko, Otodogbame, Shogunro, Badia, Mariga, Ogogoro, and Ajegunle, say ongoing demolitions have left thousands without shelter or means of livelihood. They argued that demanding an immediate halt to demolitions, especially in Makoko, as well as compensation and resettlement for affected residents. The protest was disrupted when police fired tear gas to disperse the crowd, causing panic in the area. 2 protest leaders were reportedly arrested during the standoff. Protesters insist the government must engage displaced communities through dialogue and provide lasting solutions to the housing crisis triggered by repeated demolitions.
Displaced people from across different places in Lagos, and that includes Makoko, Ogodoniri, Shoguro, Badia, Bariga, Oworoshoki, Ajegunle. Basically, nearly all parts of Lagos, as you can imagine, people are facing state-sanctioned homelessness. So today, these people without homes have gathered here to protest this injustice.
Owode motor spare parts. When they demolished the shop, everything was so tight, very trouble. For me to go to shop, to go to shop, buy food, do this and that. Even the children to pay the school fees for the children, this is wahala.
Without any information given to the market general, without any letter. So we just discovered that during the midnight, they come there to come and demolish our market during the time of Ramadan festival. And that time we protest, go to the Alausa in the House of Assembly for almost 4 times without any reports from the House of Assembly. And we tell them about how the situation of our market is. And they said that they will come and they will invite us for a certain dialogue to settle the matter. How the land grabbers will come into an area, to the market, and destroy the market.
From the market in Lagos to the market in Anambra State, the governor, Chukwuma Soludo, has described and condemned traders in Onitsha main market over continued Monday closures, calling claims of insecurity delusional. The governor said the sit-at-home order ended in 2023 and described the failure to open shops as economic sabotage. Governor Soludo argued that if markets in other insecure areas remain open, Onitsha, with over 150 security personnel, should open too. He added that traders should use streets or the stadium on Mondays could also open their shops, stressing that the closures undermine the local economy. Governor Soludo vowed stricter enforcement to boost trading and protect jobs in Anambra State.
It is about the future of our children. It is about the future of that poor woman on the street who has to hawk something on Monday to earn a living. It is about being able to have investors who are already flooding in to have the comfort that they have a full work week. It is about our prosperity. It is about our security. Because if you deny 20% of the work days in a year, you are dampening our prosperity. Jobs that need to be created, incomes that need to be earned. That's what this is about. And it should be simple enough to be understood by everybody. 2024, 2025 will be very patient, pleading. 2022, 2023, we are busy fighting all of this. 2026, we are turning on gear 4. Anybody that closes any of it will help you close it for the next week.
Moving on now, the Niger State government's directive to reopen 2,451 schools under Phase 2 has sparked concerns in security-affected communities. Some residents say schools listed for reopening are in unsafe areas and are calling for proper security assessments before students return. Trust TV's Abubakar Akote now reports.
Some of the schools are located in communities that have been deserted for the past 2 years. The Minister of Basic Education, however, says all schools slated to reopen have been cleared by security agencies, while communities in Mariga, Magama, Mashegu, Rijo and Borgu continue to face attacks. Alawa and several other areas in Shiro local government area remain largely abandoned, yet their schools are included in the reopening directive. Local residents and the Blue Resolution Initiative have called on the state government to provide alternative access to education until adequate security is guaranteed.
There is nobody living in Alawa community. Not even in Alawa community. The surrounding villages of Alawa community, since our displacement on 25 April 2024, up to now, getting to 2 years, only some months to 2 years, there is no anybody in that community. For an Erana community, I know there is no any community you will see again that are living in their own houses. Both Kurebe, Kwaiki, Chukuba, Kushaka, Manta, all the communities we are displaced. Today, talking to you now, there is a report coming up that the security operatives, we are trying to went to a patrol to Iburo community. They neutralize at least 67 IEDs. It means the IEDs, it have broken a barrier to them. Okay, it hinder them from going to the community they want to go. That is Iburo community. So if there is something like that, how do you think the school will be open?
Honestly, our communities are not safe because bandits have turned our areas into their homes. We are appealing to the government to provide security in our communities so that we can return home. However, if security cannot be provided, the government should resettle us in a safe place where we can live properly with our families and no longer have access to farming activities.
Since the government didn't do their due diligence when releasing that list, both schools in rural and urban areas do not meet the safe school requirements that we are talking about, because you hardly find a school with a complete fence, with a security light, and also even with people securing it, like security watchmen securing it.
The acting permanent secretary of the Ministry of Basic Education said schools in high-risk areas are marked red, while those requiring additional security are marked yellow.
You know, there are things people don't understand with this reopening. We as a ministry, we cannot ask any school to open without clearance from the security, Homeland Security. We have the comprehensive list of schools we forwarded to them to reopen. Oh. They now selected the ones that they can open. Some of them is yellow, but people are seeing it as if they are to open. If you see yellow, which means there are some additional security, something they're supposed to put before reopening the school. Now, which within today to Friday, we'll be meeting with the local government chairman. Oh. They can be able to add up those security stuff they talk about. Okay. Maybe additional vigilante, 1 or 2 in each school, then the school will open.
However, a review of the list shows that only federal government unit colleges in Bida, New Busa, and Kuta are classified under the red and yellow categories. The Niger State Police Command spokesperson, SP Wasiu Abiodun, was contacted to confirm whether all 2,451 schools approved for reopening under Phase 2 had been cleared by security agencies. He said he will verify the information, but was yet to respond. Abubakar Akote, Trust TV News.
Still on education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has opened JAMB registration for the 2026 UTME examinations. With the sale of forms back in the spotlight, Questions are now being raised about the cost and credibility of the process. Trust TV's Noel Sampson examined the situation and now reports.
Sale of the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination Registration Form started on January 26th and runs through February 28, 2026. Candidates pay about 7,200 naira for the form alone. With the optional mock exam, total fees can reach around 8,700, depending on the center and service charges. Over the past decade, the core UTME application fee has changed several times. Between 2016 and 2018, forms sold for around 5,000 naira. After compliance, the federal government cut the core fee to 3,500 naira in 2019. That base raised has stayed the same since, even as inflation pushed up additional charges for CBT services and mock exams. From 2023 to 2025, total costs hovered between 6,200 naira and 7,700 naira due to those extra fees. For 2026, JAMB says the core fee remains 3,500 naira, making 9 years without a hike in the base price. Still, with an estimated 130 million Nigerians living below poverty line, many households are struggling with rising costs. We spoke with an educationalist and several parents to get the views.
Well, the question is a bit relative because while some can afford it, I know a very good number can't afford it. Why I say so is looking at the government schools, that their school fees is even as low as 4,900. You discover that a lot of parents can't even afford to pay their school fees.
And it's something that is once in a year. So 12 months preparation, you can afford it.
JAMB form at that cost is not too cost for every Nigerians to us, at least to it's not what a Nigerian cannot afford.
Not all households that can afford that 7,000 something for JAMB. Even the last one they wrote last year, I think it was 4,000 something, and yet many children, many families couldn't afford it.
The price to me is too much for a 2 or 3 hours exam. They are charging so much. You understand? To me, is. But when you look at what they are inputting now, they say it's now CCTV or whatever you guys call it. In our day, whatever you do is to shade. You understand? It's to shade. If you don't know the question, you answer it, they deduct your mark. That was the JAMB then.
Beyond cost concerns, some Nigerians are questioning JAMB's credibility and asking if the exam should be scrapped or reformed. We asked our interviewees for their honest views.
I would say JAMB has not lost its credibility because JAMB is, in fact, JAMB started this whole CBT thing. So I would say JAMB has not lost its credibility. But the only thing I will say is that it shouldn't be a criteria to gain admission into the higher institution. The students are made to write WAEC, NECO, some GCE as the case may be. That should be enough to make students gain admission into the higher institution. But subjecting them to JAMB, and after JAMB, they will still have to do post-UME or UTME in universities or polytechnics. It's like duplicating exams for these students. And sometimes, even after going through all these hassles, they still don't gain admission.
So my own opinion, I would have wished if JAMB even can be cancelled totally, because it doesn't make much sense. You write JAMB this year, and you didn't get admission this year, that one is gone. Next year you register again, you continue writing. If it can be cancelled, then if you make your SSCE, you seek admission in any university of your choice. If you're able to make it, they give you admission, you go, good and fine.
I would rather advise they should institutionalize JAMB, give your hand over to WAEC, let them arrange it. You know that once they grade you, the grading is permanent and reasonable. The way they do WAEC, let there be an arrangement with WAEC. Oh, please grade this student for us. You want that can have this result, you want that can have result, you medicine, you ever do with engineering, you can take 10 of the school and get to admission at your pace. If I wrote WAEC in 2020, I can still use it now, isn't it? That goes.
With education still a key driver of opportunity, stakeholders say access to university must stay fair, affordable, and credible for all Nigerian students. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Adamawa state government has concluded the recruitment of 5,000 teachers to boost education delivery across the state. The Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Dr. Garba Pella, disclosed this in Yola during activities to mark the 2026 International Day for Education. He said the recruitment followed a rigorous screening and interview process and was necessitated by the construction of new schools across Adamawa State. The Commissioner noted that the Fintiri administration had earlier employed 2,000 teachers in 2022. Dr. Pella also revealed that 21 model basic education schools will commence operations next term, alongside the rehabilitation of 68 secondary schools.
I would like to first call on parents, communities, education and development partners to continue to support youth participation in education. The second call to action is I'm calling on the young people to use their voices, talent, and leadership to co-create the future of education in Adamawa State. I call on other partners that are not yet in the state to come in, because Adamawa State is ready and open for business, and we are receptive to all partners and every partnership.
There are growing concerns over rising cases of violent and criminal behavior among children and youths in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. Residents who spoke with Trust TV say incidents of children carrying weapons, stealing, and engaging in street fights have become increasingly common, posing challenges for security agencies. While some blame poor parental guidance, others argue that teachers, community leaders, and government must also take responsibility in addressing the trend. Here's the report.
Reports from several communities in Jalingo indicate a rise in crimes involving children and youths. Young people are frequently seen carrying knives, snatching bags, and engaging in street fights, developments that have heightened fear among residents and raised concerns about the moral direction of the younger generation. Some residents blame parents, insisting that no one is closer to children than their parents.
We have problem. The problem is we have tried to adopt a culture that is not ours. You understand? So people, the children are introduced to handsets, social media, and several other areas. And these are things that bring about moral decadence. And again, even the parents who are not helping matters.
You are talking of the moral decay in society. I think first of all, you look at the child, where is he coming from, the home is coming from. So that the government of Abu Kefas has declared free and compulsory education doesn't take away the vices we've been experiencing in the society. This is as a result of the background most of these children are coming from. So the parents are not happy. Most parents are not helping matters. Most parents contributed to the ill attitude of their children.
Mrs. Chinyere said many parents no longer monitor their children's activities, which she believes is a major contributor to the problem. She urged parents to pay attention to the type of friends their children associate with.
The parents are the more important people to our children, because they are the ones that will give our children the training that they deserve. When you train your children well, they will not disgrace you outside. And when you see them outside, you'll be proud of them.
A vice principal of Government Model Secondary School Jalingo said one of the major causes is that some parents allow children to make decisions for themselves without proper guidance. While stressing that parents must insist on what is right and discourage immoral behavior, she added that teachers are doing their best to impact moral values and knowledge to students and should not be blamed for the situation.
The issue of parents blaming teachers on the behaviors of their children, I don't think parents have done justice to teachers. Teachers have taken their time, sleepless night, planning lessons for their children. You will see a child coming from home already with the character he had already. So you don't expect a teacher to change a child in a day. Had even parents who help teachers to curtail those behaviors that children are coming in with it will help.
Religious leaders say the problem cannot be blamed on parents alone, as responsibility must be shared among parents, government and society. They called on the government to introduce programs that will positively engage young people, warning that failure to do so could create serious challenges in the future. They also urged children to avoid criminal activities and negative influences.
If the government should improve education system and create jobs, there should be no unemployment. Where there is unemployment, let them be skill acquisition centers adequately. And then where this skill acquisition is developed, there are going to be a support. You train him a skill. He has no means of practicing the skills he is taught. What are we going to do? He will just do skill to develop something contrary.
Looking at the moral decadence of our time, there are many factors involved. It is said that charity begins at home. It's going to be very wrong for us parents to push the responsibility that God has given us. It is a responsibility. The Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and if he grows, he will not depart from it. There are parents who so much love their children that they refuse to train them. A child will do what is wrong, and the parent will say, okay, my daughter, I love you, my son, I love you. They pet them and spoil them.
Legal practitioner Issa Buba also highlighted the legal perspective on the issue, saying the Constitution places the primary responsibility of care and guidance on parents, while maintaining the government to protect children and support their development.
In a situations whereby a person of a very tender age engages in criminal activities, the law is very clear. If the child is below the age of criminal responsibility, then the law also provides the kind of action to be taken. And if is above the age of criminal responsibility, then the law will take its full course.
Community members agree that stronger parenting, effective government support and active community involvement are seen as key to addressing the growing challenge.
Borno State Acting Governor Usman Kadafur has assented to the 2026 Borno State budget of 890.4 billion naira. The budget was initially presented by Governor Babagana Zulum at 890.3 billion naira to the State Assembly before being upwardly reviewed. Acting Governor Kadafur commended the House of Assembly for its transparency and timely passage of the appropriation bill and the local government amendment law. Highlighting efforts to build public trust, he also assured that the budget will be implemented with accountability. The Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly, however, Abdul Karim Lawan, explained that the upward revision of the 2.37 billion naira was made following submissions from various ministries, departments, and agencies.
The Right Honorable Speaker and the principal officers and all honorable members of the House of Assembly for the expeditious consideration and timely passage of the bills. This demonstrate a shared sense of responsibility and a clear understanding of the urgency of providing a sound financial framework for governance. Today's occasion unveils our administration's financial roadmap for the 2026 fiscal year, a budget carefully crafted to consolidate gains, stimulate economic growth, and strengthen service delivery and improve the welfare of our people.
Acting Governor of Borno State, Alhaji Umar Usman Kadafur, for assent. This budget is about totaling to over 800 billion naira, about 830 billion naira for the 2026 appropriation bill. This over 800 billion naira, which touches so many sectors in the health sectors, education, water, and also improve the capacity of our teachers.
To business now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has increased the pump price of petrol, selling it at 835 naira per litre in Lagos and 839 naira per litre in Abuja. The adjustment represents a rise of 50 naira in Lagos and 20 naira in Abuja, following a similar hike announced by Dangote Refinery, which raised its ex-gantry price to 799 naira per litre. Dangote Petroleum CEO David Bird assured that the refinery continues to supply the domestic market with around 50 million litres of petrol daily, and that distribution remains seamless despite maintenance activities. Partner outlets, including MRS filling stations, are now selling petrol at 839 naira per litre, up from 739 naira per litre. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority says increased competition in the sector rather than subsidies will ensure supplier stability and help moderate prices nationwide. On the foreign scene, Ugandan court on Wednesday granted bail to prominent rights activist Sarah Birete, who heads the Center for Constitutional Governance in Kampala. Birete was detained on December 30th after questioning the accuracy of the voter register ahead of Uganda's January 15th general election. She faces charges related to alleged unlawful disclosure of voter information. Magistrate Winnie Nankya Jatiko released her on bail, stating that she met all requirements for release. The rights activist's detention drew criticism from rights groups including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, who accused the government of persecuting her for amplifying marginalized voices. Incumbent President Yoweri Museveni, Africa's third longest ruling leader, secured 71.6% of the vote, while opposition leader Bobi Wine rejected the results and remains in hiding. Critics say Museveni's government has used the military to suppress dissident claims the administration denies.
I'm happy to regain my freedom after it was taken away on 30th December when I was picked from my home by a coaster of officers that snatched me away from my family, my children that were still enjoying the holiday as well as celebrations, and I've been away for 1 month. I thank my sureties, my family, my lawyers who have fought so hard for my freedom from 30th December to today, when they have succeeded in getting me out of detention. I want to emphasize the importance of rule of law and the due process of the law.
Time now for Sports Update with Kabir Lawal.
Team Nigerian cyclists will train in Manchester for the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. This is one of the fallout from a meeting between the National Sports Commission Cycling Federation of Nigeria and British Cycling Association. The British Cycling Association delegation, led by commercial strengthening manager Isa Kurik, was on a collaboration visit to Nigeria. The three-pronged collaboration focused on supporting the development of cycling in Nigeria, ensuring a culture of winning fairly in both the Olympics and Paralympics, as well as impacting on the society through sports and cycling. Furthermore, an agreement was reached for the team Nigerian cycling contingent to prepare in Manchester ahead of the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. Responding, an elated National Sports Commission Chairman Malam Shehu Diko assured the delegation of the Commission's support towards the actualization of the set objectives. He further added that the job is to provide the enablers for sports development in the country and will make the soil fertile for well-meaning endeavors such as this to thrive. This is a collaboration that will make the society better in the long term. Cycling is not just a sport in the country. He sought the cooperation of those involved in the partnership to make cycling less elitist. Speaking earlier, Director General Honorable Bukola Olopade, the National Sports Commission Chairman, expressed Commission's commitment towards advancement of cycling as a sport in tandem with its enormous impact in the society. The DG added that the meeting in Glasgow will be part of the sport to be competed for at the Commonwealth Games. He liaised with the Cycling Federation of Nigeria and was informed that Nigeria have huge prospects in the sport, adding that the Elite Athletes Development and Podium Board will decide to include cycling as one of the sports Nigeria will be participating in Glasgow. At Sport News, I am Kabir Lawal.
And that concludes this edition of News Hour for tonight. Do not forget, we have to come to the end of the News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. Apologies for that small hiccup there. We thank you for watching. I'm Muhammad Kuda Abubakar. Good night.